So look, there's been some new information about the David situation that's come out. Okay, there's been a whole bunch of new information, and essentially it looks like the LAPD are actually officially coming out to give a statement on the situation. Okay, the LAPD have released a statement. I've got a whole bunch of other new links for us to look into. There's updates, there's new footage, there's all of that stuff. So I'm actually going to break everything down for you in this video right this second. Okay, so this is a new statement that's actually been released by the LAPD. Okay, and it's one of the first official things that we've actually had. This is from the LA Police Department Media Relations Division. Okay, and essentially, I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking good. It's not looking good for the people that wanted to see David locked up. That's all I'm going to say, okay? It's actually not looking good. There's still no arrest. This long later, it's been like damn near 20 days since the body was found in the back of the car. And I really feel like it's not looking too good, okay? And trust me, I've got other bigger updates. I've got a whole list of things that we're going to get into, okay? But essentially, they're saying that they haven't been able to prove the manner of death. And if they can't prove the manner of the death, ain't no murder case, ain't no homicide case being brought against anyone. Okay, so I'll read you this. It says, Robbery Homicide Division investigation into the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. This is from the LA Police Department Media Relations Division. And a lot of people were saying, yo, like, when is the media relations? When is the PR department of the LAPD? Apparently, this is the thing. I didn't even know that there was such a, like, I didn't even know that they had a media arm in the LAPD. But they do, apparently. And they're giving an update. So it says Hollywood, the Los Angeles Police Department's Robbery Homicide Division, the RHD, has been diligently investigating the death of Celeste Rivas Hernandez over the past several weeks. At this time, we can confirm that Celeste Rivas Hernandez is deceased. I mean, come on. And her body was found in the front trunk of a Tesla belonging to David Burke. The vehicle had been parked at the location from which it was towed for several weeks, so Miss Rivas Hernandez may have been deceased for several weeks before the discovery of her body. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not yet determined the cause or manner of Miss Rivas Hernandez's death. As such, it remains unclear whether there is any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body. Ah, man, that's crazy. For them to say that, all right, and that doesn't mean that that couldn't change in the future, but for them to be saying that, that means that right now, as it currently stands, they ain't got no evidence against David as far as actually proving that there was a murder. Okay? Right this second, it doesn't sound like they really have anything substantial. Otherwise, he would have been arrested. I'm just going to read that again. As such, it remains unclear whether there is any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body, right? Just break that sentence down at molecular level, okay? As such, it remains that at this moment in time, it's unclear whether there is any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body. So beyond the body being concealed and put in the car, the cops at this current stage, with everything that they've got, everything that they've gone able to get through, according to them, they can't prove that any crime has happened beyond hiding the body. They can't prove that. It's unclear. And I know that's going to be disappointing to a lot of people, but ultimately that's what it is. All right, that's what it is. Okay. The Robbery Homicide Division is thoroughly examining every aspect of this case to uncover the truth and seek justice for Celeste Rivas Hernandez and her family. We appreciate the public's patience, a lot of patience, and understanding as we continue this investigation. Further updates will be provided as appropriate, but at this time, we're unable to answer additional questions. Now, yeah. Okay. People aren't feeling this update. I see people in the chat weren't feeling this update. All right. They're saying, so they confirmed Celeste is dead. Great update, lol. All right, but then people are thinking that this is a play, that they're playing the long game. It says the easiest way to outsmart your enemies is by allowing them to believe you're an idiot. That's from The Art of War. People are saying, I certainly hope that's the case, but my God, if he walks free from this, then the story will be exponentially more effed up. Decomposed body of his underage, quote, ex-girlfriend found in the trunk of his personal vehicle after she'd been living with him for years, and he still gets away with it. Man. Because that's not enough to arrest him. That doesn't mean they aren't doing their job and investigating. But hey, man, it looks like, bro, if you catch a body and you want to get away with it, you want to hide that body somewhere where nobody's going to see it for as long as possible, and you might just escape. Okay. People are saying it doesn't confirm anything new, but we do have new stuff to look into, and I'm going to get into some new stuff later. But I think for now, for this segment, I want to just focus solely on the reaction to the police statement, because there have been apparent other confirmations, but we're going to get to that in a minute. Okay. I think if that's all you took from it, then I guess so. I think it answered why he isn't arrested yet. why there isn't more information about her actual homicide. I think that we can also assume that there's no readily available footage, piece of evidence, or statement that directly incriminates him for murder. I would have loved to have heard that they're making an arrest, but I still find this helpful. This person says they didn't say that they don't have a suspect. It sounds like they're just building a strong enough case since they know it'll be a long fight. And this says, yep, I think they needed to make their appearance and speak. I trust the process. This person saying for sure they have no cause of death and barely have the time of death. If they want to get someone for this, there needs to be way more evidence discovered than that. The messages are still not enough because that's hearsay. You can't prove from the screenshots where they were coming from. People are saying it's going to take a few months. This one says, what's significant here is the timestamp of several weeks. That indicates more than 2 weeks and no more than 5. I always thought several was 3 to 7, hence the sev, but I could be wrong. All right, it says this puts her approximate time of death at the end of July and early August. But this says, where was he during those days? Where was she? I'd even go as far as to say mid-August. Whenever people spotted the Tesla in the same spot, she was more than likely already in the trunk. He seems to have been in LA mid to late July. He had a performance in San Francisco on July the 30th and then Del Mar on August the 5th. We have accounts from Celeste's friends that they lost contact end of July and early August. Also, an account from a maintenance guy in the neighborhood said that he saw the car there since the end of July or early August. And this person responds, so basically right before he started touring, barring the OD theory, the relationship theory takes the lead. 1, they already broke up in 2025. He didn't know what to do with her since she'd been away from home over an extended period of time. Too many unanswered questions. She has all the secrets. You know what happens next. The other is he finally realized it's time to grow and realized that they're people his age can relate to in the world of fame. He was done, but she wasn't, though. Threats started to happen. His little fantasy turned into a quick nightmare. Correlates to the music he dropped in 2024. Artists always speak through music. And people are saying, do you believe she was threatening to reveal the situation? And this guy says, absolutely. I also believe they had many arguments in this unrealistic relationship. As I said, barring no setbacks, that she OD'd if drugs were involved. TMZ just dropped a video of her screaming at family members. Can you imagine how David handled such behavior? More than likely not well. We're going to get to that footage in a later segment, right? People are going back and forth about this, though. I began to wonder about her behavior and if it was erratic after the boy's mother started speaking about her slamming the car door. It's not verified, but it would shed a different light on the situation. Pretty much what you were speculating could have happened is definitely interesting. I think a teen her age who could either be going to school or going to party with a rich famous celeb in Hollywood would have been very hard for her to choose what to do what's right in the situation. She could have been very troubled. It's hard to fully understand the depth from just seeing the one live stream clip of her. People are saying she was a highly emotional teenage girl who was supposed to be starting 9th grade. The writing on the wall is slowly revealing itself. He got sick of her and didn't want any more dealings. And this says, yeah, this is what it seems to be pointing to. Where was Celeste from the end of 2024 and 2025 when they supposedly broke up? In his social media post in February 2025, he says no Valentine. And in his Zach interview in April, he says he's single. Did she go back to her family? And was she leaving her home to see him during that time? Did they have a last meetup for closure during this time? And did something go wrong? Now, it's interesting, right? Because I feel like we've been seeing so much analysis and so much back and forth about like when... Obviously, everybody wants to know when she lost her life, but I think the other thing people want to work out is when did they break up, because David has all of this heartbreak music where he's talking about breaking up, being jealous, her going off with another guy, and, you know, I really want to know when they actually broke up. And that last comment, I think, made a really good point, because if he said, all right, if he said end of 2025 in February, no Valentine, and he didn't have a Valentine, so they were split up at that point, right? And she was already missing. What happens if you're dating this minor that's run away from home and then you split up? What does she do? Does she go back home? Does she run away somewhere else? Does she go to the streets? Does she find another rich creep that wants to rock with an underage girl? Like, it actually does make you think that, like, what would the timeline have been like? And then you got the whole other kettle of fish, which is like, you know, if they broke up and then she was on bad terms with him and was like, yo, like, you think you're just going to cast me to the side and break up with me, break my heart? Like, you would A minor. Okay, so I don't know. Like, I've dealt with vindictive women way, way, way in the past. And it's like, bruh, I can imagine, like, I would never be in this situation, but it's like, you could imagine how bad relationships kind of end up getting very fierce and very adversarial. And with all of the context, with all of the stuff that we've explored about this situation so far, it's kind of like, bruh, like, who knows how nasty this got? Who knows what could have pushed somebody to do this or that? And all we know is that it ended with somebody losing their life and ending up in the trunk of a car, and that probably does say a lot. But anyway, let's keep going with these comments because I think these are raising some really interesting points, and I will get onto some new information soon. So yeah, we looked at that. They're talking about this new TMZ. Apparently, they already gave that statement to People Magazine. They tweeted it a couple minutes ago. Someone saying, might be reading too much into it, but this statement really reads as though no dismemberment happened. I would imagine chopping her limbs, etc., or whatever would constitute dismemberment would be mentioned as something beyond concealment. I mean, this statement doesn't rule that out completely. Also, since they just hide behind ambiguous words like remains unclear. And they say, I watched Harvey from TMZ on his podcast say that it might be from her limbs detaching due to extreme decomposition, so they don't actually know. It was Two Angry Men if anybody wants to go and check that out. People saying, so no update, there's no update. Something seems off here. It seems like they're playing their cards too close to their chest as if to not tip anyone off. And people are saying that's very normal. They only share information when they need tips from the public. People are saying the sub is full of kids who don't know how things work. In the press conference they did the other day, the guy said, I can't confirm if he's cooperating or not. What are you guys thinking of this? All right. People are saying everyone who stated she was dismembered in this subreddit has been debunked. No dismemberment. Okay. But people are saying, I thought it was so bizarre. Certain websites said she was dismembered, but none of them referenced sources. I have a feeling that part was bogus. It was actually like quite serious and reliable sources. Like I think it was LA Times, KTLA 5, like pretty reputable news sources that touched on this whole dismemberment thing. So that has been spread by trusted sources. I feel like the only official source can really be the LAPD at this point. But, it's been said that it was trusted sources that said that. So there's been more analysis of this in other Reddit subs and in other threads. And I think some of the comments have just been really interesting. So this is the same thing. I think this is just like a repost of that that was in People Magazine. 22 hours ago. LA Police Department believes the body of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the 14-year-old girl who was found dead inside of a car belonging to musician David, had been there for several weeks. LAPD Captain and Commanding Officer Scott M. Williams told People that he couldn't confirm if the musician was cooperating with the investigation. Now, that is really interesting because it was said before that he was cooperating. I think that was a statement that actually came from his own team, if I'm not mistaken, and he'd said that he was cooperating with law enforcement. But now the LAPD Captain and Commanding Officer saying they couldn't confirm. Who knows? Maybe he was cooperating, and maybe he stopped. But people said, as I said in a previous video about this situation, people were basically saying that cooperating is a pretty loose term. That doesn't mean you're getting up on the stand like YSL Woody and pointing everybody out. That could mean simply that you are attending an interview. That could simply mean that you're not fleeing. That could simply mean that you're allowing them into your home to search when they come and... So he's cooperating in the sense that he's not ran away or he's not doing a madness, but at the same time, that cooperation could be very limited. And that cooperation could have ended. It could end or it could have ended already. But anyway... This goes on, says, speaking with People, LAPD Captain and Commanding Officer Scott M. Williams said that while many questions remain about the death of Rivas Hernandez, whose body was found inside the car in a Los Angeles parking lot on September the 8th, we know for sure that Celeste Rivas Hernandez died and someone placed her body in the car. We already covered that. As far as their relationship, I think it would be premature for me to say anything. We are looking into everything. Right? Remember when David said, delete everything? Delete everything. Yeah, well, they're looking into everything, and that ain't deleted. It's unlucky chum. All right? The LA County Medical Examiner has not determined a cause or manner of her death, so we don't know for sure if anyone has criminal culpability for her death beyond the concealment of her dead body. The LAPD captain added, sharing that the LAPD's homicide robbery division is still probing the case. Okay, so let's see the comments. This says, so the only thing confirmed is the body has been in the car for either 3 weeks or maybe close to a month, if not more than a month. They overall said a bunch of nothing. Right? Well, they keep saying that they aren't going to reveal much about the investigation. The chief said last time it would be inappropriate, and now the captain is saying it's premature. So they've definitely done more. We just won't know until later. Very tight-lipped. Okay? I'm usually pretty critical of cops, but I totally agree they're doing the right thing here by keeping facts close to the belt. Nobody wants another OJ, and this could be... I feel like this is the closest thing that in my lifetime that I've experienced that feels like this OJ Simpson trial. And if this does go to trial, oh boy, that's going to be absolutely explosive. All right. This is interesting. It says, could not confirm if the musician was cooperating with the investigation. What a strange thing not to confirm. It makes me feel like he's been avoiding them. Apparently, he has been avoiding them. I remember seeing a clip of TMZ reporters last week saying that they have it on good authority that he isn't talking to the police and has lawyered up, which we knew, but I imagined he was still cooperating through his lawyer. Guess not. I thought earlier reports said he was cooperating. The latest NY Post article says that his team said he had been cooperating. Sounds like he isn't anymore. I mean, police also have a constitutional duty to not comment on the silence of the accused, which could be part of the police refusing to confirm whether he's cooperating or not. If he's lawyered up and not talking after being called in for an interrogation, that's his Fifth Amendment right. Okay? And apparently, using your Fifth Amendment right is still, you can still cooperate and attend an interview and still plead the Fifth. And that doesn't mean you're not cooperating. And if those rights are violated during an investigation, vital evidence can be thrown out in court. I'm assuming they're being incredibly cautious to avoid dropping the bowel. Okay. This says, I feel like we need to wait 1 to 2 weeks for a noteworthy update. Her body has already been turned over to her family, so they should be moving into the next phase of the investigation. Okay. People aren't feeling just how to the point. People are saying, well, we know for sure that Celeste Rivas Hernandez died and someone placed her body. Well, no shit. All right. Yes, no shit. This person says typically toxicology tests would be complete by this point, especially in a high-profile case like this, so I'm assuming they got the results and they were inconclusive. I'm also guessing that there was no evidence of damage to the hyoid bone from strangulation. Not discounting it happened, according to Wiki, it's only present in 50% of strangulation cases. It sounds like it's going to require other circumstantial evidence, text, photos, etc., to prove any sort of cause of death. I really hope that he doesn't get away with this and that the evidence they have access to, that I'm sure they're going to with a combing through with a fine-tooth comb, is fruitful. Okay, let's hope they weren't inconclusive. That would be very unfortunate. Okay, people are really just like dying to get to the bottom of this. Okay, so there was another update that I saw on Reddit where people were basically pointing out that it might take, all right, a whopping 3 months to actually get the toxicology report. Okay, this is from the County of Los Angeles Medical Examiner, and it says, due to the thoroughness and quality of our lab testing and significant increase in drug deaths in Los Angeles County during the past couple of years, toxicology testing can be a lengthy process. Currently, toxicology results take between 2 and 3 months. So if it was a potential overdose, it's going to take a long time to find that out. And that probably, realistically, if she has a fatal amount of any type of substance in her body, I'm not going to lie, if she has a fatal amount of any substance in her body that could kill you, I don't think they're going to get him on murder charges. I think if that's the case and that comes back, he'll be able to say, yeah, she overdosed, I panicked, blacked out, no idea. And if they haven't got if they haven't got any blood, they haven't got a scene of the murder, if they haven't got any of that, I don't think he's gonna get convicted. They might not even bring the charges. All right. So this comment, the person who posted this says, I know a lot of us are frustrated and worried about how long it's taking to determine cause and manner of death. It might feel like nothing is happening, but according to the LA County Medical Examiner's FAQ, toxicology results usually take 2 to 3 months to complete, sometimes longer because of backlogs. This timeline is standard for all cases, not just Celeste's. Even when a case is high profile, pushing for priority doesn't always speed things up. I know waiting is hard, but nothing official can really move forward until those results are back, and it's important that they take the time to be thorough and accurate. People are saying, unfortunately, this isn't going to stop anyone from complaining that David hasn't been arrested yet, or from coming up with conspiracies about how the police are going to let him go free. Look, I don't think the police are going to let him go free. I think the police want to prosecute this as much as anybody else does, but it's really a case of the evidence, and it's those same, constitutional protections of a fair trial and, a fair shake at the justice system that protect everybody else from being falsely accused. But if it just so happens that they really can't find the evidence and he walks free, that people are going to be really upset about that. Okay. People are saying it's insane. People think he can just be arrested immediately without thorough investigation. But I'm not going to lie to you. I've said this in other videos. Look, just as a man, as a grown man, all right, with bills and responsibilities and stuff I got to organize and appointments and emails and all this stuff, right? I just assumed straight off the bat, if I get caught with a body in the trunk of my car, I'm going to jail. I'm not going home and cooking dinner that night. That's just always what I assumed. Like, you couldn't have told me, like, yo, if you got caught with a dead body in your trunk, the cops would haul the body away and you just get on with your life for at least the next few weeks. Like, that blows my mind. Like, I just can't believe that. Like, what do you mean you can get caught with a body in your trunk and then just go to your appointments? It's insane. Like, I would have assumed that at least in England, and even more so in America, you get caught with a body in your car, you go straight to jail, do not pass go, do not collect £200. Like, bruh, body in the car, we're going to hold on to you until we know what the hell's going on. That's just what I assumed. So I'm actually still just completely stunned that you can just get caught. Like, as much as I value the justice system, all right, innocent till proven guilty, you got to give people a fair shake at their trial and to present their defense. But I'm not going to lie, like, I would be quite happy to live in a country or to live in a world where just straight off the bat, if you get caught with a body in your car, yeah, you go to jail until they work it out, until that toxicology comes back. You can sit down in jail because there's a body in your car, bro. We got to weigh up the public good, public safety. Like, I don't know. Is it tyrannical to say, like, anybody caught with a dead body in their car, no bail? Just, you know what I'm saying? For the small amount of people who are completely innocent that accidentally end up with a dead body in their car and didn't do anything, all right? I don't know if I care about protecting those people beyond the people, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm being discriminatory, but, like, bro, dead body in your car? Yeah, we're gonna have to work out what happened before you get to go out here and just run amok, right? I don't know. But anyway, there's a few new things that have apparently come out in the midst of this LAPD nothing burger that came out, okay? And it's actually being reported by TMZ that they have confirmed that Celeste was not pregnant. Okay, this has been reported. Okay, the death certificate's been released, and apparently it does confirm, okay, Celeste Rivas' death certificate defers cause of death, but she is apparently confirmed not to be pregnant, okay? So the death certificate shows what we expected. The cause of death is being deferred. But the death certificate obtained by TMZ says Celeste was found on September the 8th, 2025. The certificate says autopsy was performed, but we're told that the ME is waiting for toxicology reports. But officially, according to the certificate, Celeste was not pregnant, nor had she been in the last year. So all of those posts, things that were taken out of Discord, saying that somebody was pregnant, somebody was about to have their child, that's either somebody else or it's just a whole bunch of cap, apparently. Okay, so that's now apparently stamped. All right. And yeah, so there's also another update on this that I'm going to go over in a moment, but let's just see what people are saying. This guy says, I personally wasn't completely convinced she was pregnant. I felt like they were just joking when they mentioned on the Discord chat about pregnancy. That's some dumb stuff I did when I was David's age too. Hopefully that's the only thing you did like David. Oh my lord. All right. One pretty big alleged motive is now taken off the table. People are saying, what if she OD'd at his pre-tour party? Could be possible. Hopefully we'll get more info soon. Such a devastating case. Says, I've heard a lot of people speculate on a potential overdose. Was there anything that pointed to her abusing drugs? People saying, I don't think she was necessarily abusing drugs, but David's lifestyle took a radical turn in 2025. He goes from sitting alone making TikToks to spending much of his time with influencers his own age and partying throughout the summer of 2025. I can definitely believe that there was a plentiful supply of alcohol and drugs. By early August, he had opened a new alt TikTok, Where is the Huzz for? And his behavior, example, his first post is requesting a threesome, started to become a bit over-sexual, hyper, and erratic. But Celeste was only 13. That's gross. I'm not going to read that last part. Yeah. So anyway, the pregnancy thing is off the table, apparently, okay? One thing I'm curious about is what he did with her cell phone. I wonder if he has it hidden somewhere or if he deleted everything on it. Now, that is a flipping good point, okay? Because, look, if I, God forbid, all right, if I lose my life, chances are my phone's going to be near me. My phone's always near me, right? Boom. Right there. Ready to go. Ready for action. Face down, not really trying to answer calls while I'm on live, but it's hard to believe that the phone would have been far away from the body, right? So where did that phone go? Where was that put? Was that concealed? Was it disposed of? Can we track it down? That is a really interesting point that I've not seen discussed, and I really hope that we do get to the bottom of that. So this says that the article doubled down on dismembered, so we can definitely confirm that at this point at least. 100% wasn't an overdose and panic if they chopped the body up. Now, I'm going to touch on this really quickly. I was going to mention this later, but people are saying that originally TMZ backtracked on the dismembered claim. So this is a new article about the death certificate that is from today. And dismembered, they're going with dismembered. So they're doubling down on dismembered in this one. Okay, but apparently, I think this was a day ago, people were saying that TMZ are now saying she was possibly dismembered, and they were distancing themselves from saying she was dismembered. So, essentially, all right, it's still uncertain, okay? But yeah, people are saying that TMZ basically backtracked and said that some people possibly dismembered. Let me see where that was mentioned in here, because I think that would be very intriguing. Show you some research methods. All right, I'm going to find how many times it was mentioned twice. Let's hear. All right, let's hear what they said.
That's fascinating to me. It's been reported that the body was dismembered. It's been
Right.
reported that it was in there for a while. I don't believe, based on what I've seen so far, that you can make a definitive or draw a definitive conclusion at this point, absent some pathologist going in there and actually trying to discern whether it's a dismemberment or it's just part of the decomposition
You know,
process.
I was having that exact discussion with somebody 5 minutes ago. So I hear you. So look, we left the information, we gave them the information, and that was the last we heard of them. They have been so locked down in such an unusual way. And I'm just going to say it, that
Why do you attribute that to?
I don't know. We have sources that normally are available to us. Nobody's available. I mean, it's...
Well, I was going to say, don't take this the wrong way, but TMZ, as you mentioned, is almost 20 years old or is 20 years old. You've had a very robust relationship with the LAPD over those 20 years. So it is strange for me, at least, based on what I've seen over the years, that they have clammed up over this. And that's why I'm asking, you've got to have a gut on that.
Yeah, my gut, look, okay, here, let me lay it out on what we have, and then we can talk about it, because I'm telling you, a lot of people think David is the guy who did this. And I know that, and there is evidence, I think, that points that way, but I think there's evidence that points in a different way too. So let me tell you what we know. So David owned the car, and the body was found in the car. We also know from people we've spoken with and photographs we have that there is a real connection between David, who was 20, and Celeste, who was 14 when she died. And that we have talked to people who were around them, went to parties with them, and that they assumed they were boyfriend, girlfriend. Celeste, who had run away from home, presented herself like she was 18 or 19. She had multiple fake IDs. And the people at the various parties, when they found out she was the victim, they were stunned. They thought, my God, she had apparently passed herself off as being a USC student. So they thought she was an adult. They couldn't believe that she was 14 years old.
So I'm not going to get too far into this, even though this is a really interesting podcast. I think a thing that a lot of people are really focused on is this idea that, like, essentially, if she really was lying about her age, had a fake USC ID, and was basically kind of convincing not just the people around David, but maybe David himself, that she was of age, that might give him a defense to the possible argument that he is actually a PDF file. Okay, I'm going to say it very, very reasonably. Okay, that would give him a potential defense for that. All right, the fake IDs is actually such a good look for David. Okay, that's actually that's good evidence in his favor to at least be able to get rid of these grooming charges, to at least be able to kind of clear himself, even if it's not true and we're not believing it and we're thinking he knew what was going on for real. Plausible deniability in a courtroom, that's going to work in his favor, all right? And then if they can't even prove the time or the cause of death, they can't prove a murder happened, they can't prove where it happened, they might not be able to get him on anything. Okay, so it is looking pretty bad, all right? I'm seeing chats, all right? I'm seeing super chat. Shout out to Remo in the chat. Shout out to everyone else in the chat. All right, we're doing this live. All right, all my previous videos, the majority of them were not live, but we live again. All right, shout out to Unsolved Amy. They're saying we can exclude robbery too because she had jewelry on when she was found. That's a really, really interesting point, man. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat what you guys think, man. All right, they're saying delete everything. All right, delete everything. All right. Yeah, man. People saying Young Thug gonna tell on David, man. We got a real crossover episode on our hands. So look, all right, I'm gonna move on to another topic. All right, I'll catch you guys in another video, and we will be moving on. We'll be mixing it up, and I'll be talking to the chat. But make sure that you catch me in any of these live streams going forward. If you want this information straight from the horse's mouth as it happens, make sure that you tap in with the live streams on this channel, and we're gonna be going live on Twitch soon. So, yep, it's been lit. That's the first topic.